Hey everyone, welcome. Get comfortable, and let's get into tonight's Reddit stories. A widow in her 50s spent decades building a ranch with her late husband, pouring her entire life into that land. Now, her only daughter is demanding she sell everything so the daughter and son-in-law can travel the world and never work again. When she refuses, the ultimatum that follows shatters their family, and she's left wondering how she's supposed to keep going. My daughter, a 23-year-old woman, wants me, a 54-year-old woman, to sell my entire estate and use it to travel the world. I'm a 54-year-old woman, a widow. I actually made this account during the holidays last year and never got around to posting my story, but it's been a year now and I still have the exact same problem. My husband passed away 8 years ago. The ranch is what kept me going after he died. We built it together from almost nothing. It took decades of early mornings, broken equipment, droughts, bad years, and choosing work over comfort. That land is the only thing that still feels like home, because every corner of it has him in it. I have one daughter, she's 23. She's married now. For a while after my husband died, we were close. I helped them when they were starting out. I never charged them rent when they stayed over. I watched their dogs when they traveled. I really tried to be the kind of mother who supports without controlling. About a year ago, they sat me down for what they called a serious talk. I thought something was wrong. Instead, they asked me to sell the ranch. Not part of it, not lease it out, sell everything. Their reasoning was that I don't have other kids, I don't have close family left, and they don't plan on having children. According to them, the money would be better used now so they could travel the world and never have to work again for the rest of their lives. They said I could downsize, live simply, and still be comfortable. They framed it like they were helping me make a smart decision. What hurt wasn't just the request. It was how casually they dismissed what the ranch means to me. They talked about it like it was just an asset sitting there waiting to be liquidated. When I said no, that this place is my life's work, and the last thing I have that connects me to my husband, the tone changed. They said I was being selfish, that I was choosing land over my own daughter, that eventually it would be hers anyway, so why not let it benefit them now? My son-in-law chimed in and said people my age shouldn't be tied down by property. After that conversation, things were never the same. Phone calls got short. Visits stopped. I got a final text message from her saying that if I don't support her dreams, then she will cut contact. Holidays suddenly became complicated. When I tried to talk it through with my son-in-law, he told me I had already made my choice. It's been a year since I've seen them in person. I sit on the porch some nights and wonder how it came to this. I never thought refusing to sell the thing I worked my whole life for would cost me my relationship with my child. I miss my daughter. I miss who I thought we were. But every time I imagine signing those papers and watching strangers take over the land my husband and I bled for, I feel like I'd be erasing the last chapter of my life just so someone else can live without responsibility. I don't know if standing my ground makes me stubborn or if giving in would break me. All I know is I never expected to be this alone again after already losing my husband. The only people I have left are the people who work on the ranch. They visit me every day and ask me to join them on Christmas, and I've been invited again for New Year's Eve next week. I don't think this agony is going to end, and my heart just hurts. My friend told me that a child may be able to endure being without a parent, but a parent can't endure being without their child, and I agree with that. How do I go on? A lot of people in the comments focused on one thing. The ranch is hers, and she has every right to decide what happens to it. One of the top suggestions was to update her will with an estate attorney and leave the ranch, or the bulk of it, to the people who have actually shown up for her. Like her ranch workers, who care about her and include her in their holidays. They said she could still leave her daughter a smaller amount of money if she wants. but she doesn't owe her everything just because she's an only child. Another common theme was that this whole situation revealed her daughter and son-in-law's priorities. People pointed out that they don't seem to care about her well-being as much as they care about accessing her assets now on their terms. Since they were willing to cut her off when she didn't hand it over, a lot of people said she should feel no guilt about spending her money on herself and leaving them nothing if that's how they're going to treat her. What do you think about this situation? Should a parent ever feel pressured to give up their home or their life's work so their adult child can live out a dream? Or is drawing the line here completely fair? If you were in her shoes, or in the daughter's, how would you handle it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoy these stories, don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Imagine trying to support the person you love through unimaginable grief, while also realizing you're the only thing standing between both of you and complete financial collapse. At what point does compassion for their pain clash with your own need for stability? I'm a 36-year-old woman, and I feel like I'm carrying our entire life while my partner, a 46-year-old man, grieves and avoids responsibility. I don't know what's fair anymore. I'm trying to figure out if my frustration is valid or if I'm being unfair because of everything my partner is going through. My partner, he's 46, has lost 8 people this year, including his 5-year-old granddaughter. His grief is real and it's heavy, and I've really tried to be supportive. But at the same time, I feel like I'm the only one keeping our life from completely falling apart. Just this year, we've already been evicted once, almost got evicted again in October, and now we're 2 months behind on rent. I'm 36, and I'm the only one working consistently. He's had 3 jobs this year, but only stayed at each one anywhere from about 3 months to as little as 4 weeks. Altogether, I've seen maybe $800 from him the entire year. Meanwhile, my paychecks are gone before they even hit my account because of transportation costs and him constantly asking for money or things he says he needs. Then later denying he ever asked. Now he's saying he's never been in a relationship where money is shared, and that in his past relationships, no one counted what they spent. But I'm drowning. Bills don't care about grief or nostalgia for how past relationships worked. I cannot carry 2 adults by myself. When I try to talk about it, he shuts down, gets defensive, or guilt trips me for adding pressure. I've communicated clearly and asked for specific changes. He agrees in the moment, but then nothing actually changes. I'm starting to feel resentful, and then I feel guilty for being resentful because I know he's hurting. But I'm hurting too. Has anyone been through something like this? How do you balance compassion for someone's grief with your own need for stability and partnership? The top commenter had a lot to say about this. One of the most upvoted responses was very direct. Stop giving him money. That person pointed out that it doesn't matter what he says he needs it for if you're already behind on rent and facing possible homelessness. In their view, the priority has to be keeping a roof over your heads, and if he wants spending money, he needs to earn it himself. And if refusing to fund him is what makes him leave, they said you should let him go. Another person wanted more context before really giving advice. They asked how long you've been together and what the relationship looked like before this year and all the losses. Specifically, they were wondering, before these 8 deaths, including his granddaughter, was he generally stable, employed, and a good partner? Or has this pattern been around longer than the grief? And another highly upvoted comment focused on his mental health. They said that with this many losses in such a short time, he really needs grief counseling. Even if it wasn't affecting the relationship, they felt therapy would still be important. But since it is hurting your stability, it becomes even more urgent. They acknowledged that if he doesn't have insurance, it could be expensive. But they argued it would be worth the cost for him to actually process his grief instead of shutting down and avoiding responsibilities. What do you think about this situation? Where's the line between supporting a grieving partner and enabling them to avoid adult responsibilities? If you were in her position, what would you do next? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you've been through something similar, share your experience. Imagine being told your lifelong dream is unladylike, that your only real purpose is to be a wife and a mom, and then getting hit with an ultimatum, your career, or your relationship. What would you do if the person you love suddenly moved the goalposts like that? Update. My 25-year-old boyfriend, who's 24, doesn't want to be with someone as ambitious as myself. Hi, everyone. I just wanted to leave a little update for my previous post. Thanks for all the replies. I read every single one, and the general consensus was that I shouldn't give up my goal of becoming a vet. A part of me already knew that, but I was really second-guessing whether I was making the right decision. I really love him, and I've been with him since I was a teenager. If I'm being honest, I left out some information to try to keep the responses as non-biased as possible. From here on out, I'll be referring to my boyfriend as my ex. Okay, so here's some important info and answers to some of the comments I saw. My ex has known for years that my dream is to become a vet, and he only just recently sprung it on me that he doesn't want to be with me if I go through with it. It all started when I was talking about the cost of vet school. That's when he gave me an ultimatum. If I go to vet school, he's going to break up with me. When I told him I'm not giving up on that goal, he kind of walked back the ultimatum. But then, a week later, he brought it up again, which is why I made my original post. So, yes, he did ask me to give up on becoming a vet. He told me I wasn't acting like a lady, that as a woman, my purpose is to be a mom and a wife, and that I have no idea how the world works. Another comment asked why I would have to move back to my hometown. I moved out of my hometown, and we've been in a long-distance relationship ever since. My ex used to tell me that his plan was to move to the new city where I live now, but he randomly decided against that. He refused to budge and told me many times that I would have to move back if we were going to be together. That was another big point of contention between us. A lot of people were wondering if he even had the resources to support a stay-at-home mom and a big family. Short answer, maybe for a while? He hasn't had a stable job for months, but he does have a good amount of money and assets. It would probably be okay in the short term, but it definitely wouldn't provide the kind of life that either of us has said we want. I left all of this out because I wanted to hear people's advice at face value, but I get now that all of this is pretty important context. I'm not sure if I'm missing any other big questions, so I'm open to answering more if needed. But I think at this point it's pretty cut and dry. He and I are broken up. I've realized that even if I did everything he wanted, he'd still find something to put me down for and would probably end up leaving me anyway. It sucks. But I'm just going to focus on becoming a vet, and hopefully the whole family thing will happen when it's meant to. Thank you again for your comments. I got such great advice, and I really appreciate everything everyone said. The top comment loved the very first line of her update, where she says she'll now be referring to him as her ex. They said that alone was the best part of the whole post, and they acknowledged that even though it's hard, she did the right thing for herself. Another highly upvoted response echoed that same sentiment in a playful way, quoting, "I'll now be referring to him as my ex," and adding that everybody collectively liked that, like the entire subreddit hit a like button at the same time. A third popular comment focused on his statement that her purpose is to be a mom and a wife. That commenter said that line by itself would have been enough for them to break up immediately after hearing it. What do you think about this situation? Is an ultimatum over someone's education or career ever okay in a relationship? And where would you draw the line between compromise and control? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you like these updates, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next story. Imagine finally starting to love your body after struggling with it your whole life. And then the person you're dating tells you that if you gain even 1 more pound, they might not want you anymore. What would you do in that moment? Boyfriend, a 26-year-old guy, is terrified of me. A 23-year-old girl gaining weight? For context, I'm 110 pounds. I used to be 100 pounds a while back. He noticed that I'd gained weight and asked me about it. When I told him I'd put on 10 pounds, he started telling me he doesn't want me gaining any more weight because he likes the way I look right now and he's not into bigger girls. He said bigger girls aren't his type and that if I gain any more weight, he doesn't know if he could stay with me and that it's possible he'd lose attraction. I get that he has a type, but that really hurt me. I've been struggling with my weight my whole life. And just when I finally start loving myself, I get told this. I feel like I'm never going to be allowed to be okay with my own body. Now I'm scared of gaining even a single pound. I'm scared that if I do, he'll judge me. He won't like me anymore, and that'll be it. I thought he liked me as a person, and now I just feel heartbroken. I'll eat less, that's fine. But I feel so hated right now. This whole relationship feels fake to me at the moment, and I don't even know what to say anymore. Reddit did not hold back on this one. The top comment pointed out that when OP says, "He won't like me anymore," the reality might be that he doesn't truly like her now. He just finds her physically attractive. They argue that if his feelings are that conditional on 10 pounds, then she wouldn't be losing anything of real value by leaving him. Another highly upvoted comment suggested a kind of test. Tell him she's gained even more weight over the holidays and is now 120 pounds just to see his reaction. Let him freak out, then step on a scale to reveal her actual weight, and then end the relationship anyway, because his behavior already shows who he is. And a third popular comment summed it up bluntly. No one who genuinely loves you would ever dream of saying something like that. Their advice? Throw the entire man away and move on. What do you think about this situation? Is this just having a type? Or is it a huge red flag when someone ties their attraction this tightly to a partner's weight? If you were in OP's shoes, what would you do next? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoy these stories, don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Imagine coming home after a long day, hopping on a call with your best friends, and then your partner storms in and demands you stop speaking your own second language, or even stop talking to your friends altogether. Is that just insecurity, or is it something a lot more serious? My 25-year-old boyfriend wants me to stop speaking Korean with my close friends, and I can't help but see him differently now. So I'm a 25-year-old woman, and my boyfriend is 36. We've been dating for around 14 months. I met him through a family friend, and we've gotten along really well since then. But recently, he's been acting different. When I was around 12 or 13, I went to a summer program in the US and met my now best friends, Jenna and Emma. They're both 24-year-old women. Those are fake names. Jenna and Emma are native Koreans, and at the time I met them, they weren't fluent in English, didn't live in the States, and were only there for that specific program. We've kept in touch over the years, and as I helped teach them English, they taught me Korean. Now all three of us are fluent in both. Recently, my boyfriend told me he gets upset when he comes home, and I'm talking to either Jenna or Emma in Korean, especially because they speak English fluently. The three of us usually talk in a mix of Korean and English, but mostly Korean, because Jenna still lives in Korea with her family. Emma moved to my country a few years ago, but she doesn't live near me. It's just a lot easier for us to speak Korean because it's still their native language. And I don't mind the practice since none of my friends here speak it. My boyfriend says he feels like we're talking about him and he doesn't like not knowing what we're saying. This was a few weeks ago, and since then, I've been speaking to them in English. But a few days ago, I slipped up and he walked into our bedroom while I was speaking Korean and he completely blew up at me. I reminded him that it's a hard habit to break, and he told me he didn't care and that he was tired of us talking about him all the time. I have never talked about him in Korean with the girls, and even if I did, it was never negative. Then he told me he wanted me to stop talking to them completely because I don't know how to control myself. I told him I wasn't going to give up 2 almost 10-year friendships just because he was upset. He's been giving me the silent treatment ever since, but I can't help seeing him differently after what he said. I don't know if this is just a normal couple argument or something I should really be worried about. Either way, I don't see him the way I did before, and something in my brain about him has shifted. Am I going insane? Reddit commenters did not think this was a normal couple quarrel at all. The top response called this a huge red flag, saying this kind of behavior is controlling and will probably only get worse. Their advice was clear. Keep the long-term friends and reconsider the boyfriend who's trying to dictate how and in what language you talk to them. Another highly upvoted comment pointed out a pattern they saw. The 10-year age gap, his paranoia that he's being talked about all the time, his attempt to isolate her from her friends, and the overall controlling behavior. They warned that no relationship is worth sacrificing your independence and support system for. A third commenter connected this to a broader trend they've seen. Older men in big age gap relationships becoming controlling over younger partners. They called it textbook and said people often think their relationship will be the exception until situations like this start happening. What do you think about this situation? Is this just insecurity that could be worked through with communication? Or are these early signs of something more controlling and dangerous? If you were in her position, what would you do? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoy these stories, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next one.